Have you ever heard a news so shocking that it felt like a conspiracy theory? But this was no conspiracy. Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso, had just 2 days to hand over 70% of the country's gold reserves. Failure to do so, Burkina Faso would have to immediately pay back the entire debt it owes. A massive $8 billion. This ultimatum was from the most powerful man in the world, Donald Trump, the President of the United States and the most influential leader in the International Monetary Fund. But this wasn't just about politics, this was a brutal economic attack under the guise of diplomacy. The United States will not negotiate with Burkina Faso. To Mr. Trump, it was just another third world country, not worth his time or concessions whatsoever, so he served Traoré a cold ultimatum. Pay the debt at once or surrender 70% of Burkina Faso's massive gold reserve. The world was shocked. Even within Trump's inner circle in the White House, there was silent whispers of disbelief. This was no negotiation. This was a dangerous attack, aimed straight at the heart of Ouagadougou and the government of Burkina Faso. The United States, in collaboration with the IMF under the leadership of Christina Georgieva and the G7, delivered the blunt message to Traoré. At exactly 7 a.m. sharp on the 10th of August, 2025, the mail was handed to Captain Traoré. The message was unbelievably blunt: either allow corporations from the United States, the United Kingdom and other IMF member nations to mine and export 70% of your gold, or pay back $8 billion owed the G7 nations within the next 48 hours. Failure to meet the deadline will be met with very, very severe sanctions, resource blockades, and the destabilization of Traoré government. This was not diplomacy. This was blatant extortion. Trump was mean and cold. You should be grateful. We saved you from terrorism, he declared. We provided food when you were starving and we lent you money. It's time to pay back or pay the price, he roared. But Trump was about to get a shocker. Burkina Faso's most powerful man was not one to be cowed. He was a rare breed. Instead of panicking, Captain Traoré simply took steps in readiness for any hostile action from the West. He summoned senior military commanders and key government ministers. After deliberations, he gave an order: tell the G7 and IMF that Burkina Faso is not for sale. He thundered. The West didn't know how to respond. They never saw this coming. This bold statement sent shockwaves across the whole continent. Never before has there been an African president who did not bow to the West. African media was in a frenzy. As the scenario unfolds, Traoré stayed alert and made plans. For months, a massive secret has been hidden beneath the sun-scorched plains of northern Burkina Faso. Not a rumor, nor speculations, but pure fact. A colossal deposit of untapped mineral wealth was discovered by a covert geological task force established by Traoré, worth tens of billions of dollars. The data had fully been encrypted by North Korean tech specialists. Everything was sealed until the first drill hit the ground. Then the eyes of the West, specifically the United States and France, spotted it. Surveillance satellites over the Sahel began picking up unusual activity, and within just 2 days US intelligence had detected strange energy signatures, traced shipments of equipment from Iran and Venezuela. And soon after, the signals of gold lit up on theater screens. By that time, Burkina Faso had reclaimed full control of its gold mines from Western corporations and had them nationalized. The revenue no longer flowed to Paris, it was channeled to unprecedented developments in Burkina Faso. The IMF knew what that meant. The idea of a gold-rich African nation that they can't control was terrifying to them. Ibrahim Traoré has gone independent, kicking out France and taking over control of its gold and resources. Who knows if other African nations will follow in his tracks and sideline the West too? No. They had to stop this now. They are petrified of what would become of their economy without Africa's rich mineral wealth, so in the dead of the night they made sinister plans. It was decided that Trump's mighty force must be discharged to make Traoré submit and kneel. What they didn't know was that Traoré was a rare breed, fearless, and he kneels to no one. So a message bearing no trace of diplomacy was sent, the tone laced with the arrogance of an empire posing as a business, but the G7 delivered it as if it were a business proposal. But make no mistake, this was not a negotiation, it was extortion. The demands were listed in a document marked Debt Recovery Strategy Framework. The so-called recovery plan was outrageous. 70% of Burkina Faso's gold production was to be handed over to American mining giants and CEOs under the guise of gradual debt repayment. Control of all major gold export routes was to be transferred to American-approved intermediaries. An American advisory board would oversee all new mining contracts, then in exchange promises of military cooperation, technology partnership, and protection from regime change. Yes, you heard that right, a threat, thinly veiled with deceptive promises. At the top of the document was a handwritten note: "You have 48 hours." Imagine the audacity. This was not just economic colonialism, it was the height of Brazilian imperialism. Among the 19 IMF member nations, the so-called neutral elite tried to appear calm. They claimed Trump was acting on his own, and that it was not an official IMF policy. But behind closed doors they gave Thier full support, because deep down Trump was only saying aloud what they had been thinking for years: we do not care who runs Africa as long as we control what is under the ground. Captain Ibrahim Traoré understood the message perfectly, and he had already made his decision. No foreign entity will dictate the future of our land. If this was going to be a power game, Captain Traoré was ready, and he won't be anyone's pawn. He stepped forward as a leader, an independent man, representing a sovereign nation, and Trump, he has just threatened the wrong soldier. When the ultimatum landed in Burkina Faso's war room, Traoré did not flinch. He read the letter calmly, then he set it aside, stood up and said flatly, "So this is how they collect a debt. Poison in a suit." He did not wait. He did not hesitate. He lit a fire. They wanted 70% of our future. They would get 100% of our resistance. He made a phone call and simply said the word "execute," and in an instant, every oil field was locked down. The security of the gold convoys was doubled, and data flows to foreign contractors were restricted. "Prepare the national broadcast," Traoré directed. By noon, the entire country was watching. The screen went black. Then a live feed appeared. No flashy production, no lavish studio. Just Captain Traoré, fully suited in military gear, with a steady voice and eyes blazing with fury, he spoke. "To the people of Burkina Faso and our brothers across Africa, they are not demanding debt payments from us, nor are they simply demanding 70% of our gold. What they truly seek is the fear within us. To those behind this insult, to Mr. Trump and his supporters, you have underestimated us. We are not Libya. We are not Iraq. We are not your playground. We will never surrender our land to repay debts you have imposed. We will never bow to your weapons or your banks. You gave us 2 days. Here is our answer. Now you have 2 days to take your greed, your threat, and your arrogance and leave African soil." He stood up and saluted and walked off the screen. No questions, no deals, no surrender. But while Traoré's speech set cheers across Africa, a different kind of storm was quietly forming in oil company boardrooms and intelligence. Panic spread at ExxonMobil. Emergency calls went out to Washington, and the CIA headquarters in Langley. Alarms went off. Traoré hadn't given in. He had spoken out in public, and that was the real problem. Burkina Faso could say no and still win. What would stop Mali, Niger, Chad, or Congo from doing the same? The pressure increased fast. CIA agents started appearing more often in Africa. Drones flew more missions over Burkina Faso gold routes. On social media, a smear campaign began to spread, calling Traoré unstable, reckless, even crazy. Near the Ghana border, private military contractors tied to an unknown intelligence company was seen moving in. The message from Washington was clear: this must end now. But Traoré's message had already spread across Africa. Africa is not for sale. The plan against him was simple: create trouble from inside his country. At the same time, big Western news networks started telling the same story. Burkina Faso was refusing to pay its debts. Experts warned. They say Traoré is leading his country into disaster. But inside Burkina, the truth was very different. More people were signing up to guard the gold mines. The resistance was not just military, it was community-driven, and it's growing by the hour. University students held events about sovereignty and fair use of resources. Women groups brought food and supplies to soldiers protecting the mines. And every time CNN or Fox News attacks young people didn't get angry. They laughed. Then they reposted the news clip with one line: "If they hate him this much, he must be doing something right." Captain Ibrahim Traoré knew the truth. The real enemy wasn't Trump alone. It was the whole system: banks, oil companies, the G7, the IMF, and old colonial powers that have taken from Africa for generations. Now that system was attacking one man because he dared to do something no one expected. He said no, and he meant it. Burkina Faso was under attack politically, economically, and digitally, but Traoré was not alone. Just days after openly rejecting the ultimatum from Trump and the IMF, 3 military planes landed in Ouagadougou. No bombs, no weapons, only brothers from Mali, Niger, and Guinea. The 3 African leaders came down from theater choppers walking tall and unapologetic. They entered the presidential palace together. When they came out, they stood side by side with Traoré for the world to see. Then came the words that shook the continent. "If you touch Burkina Faso, you touch all of us." This wasn't just a statement, it was a new doctrine. Africa's answer to NATO was the AES shield. Mali sent experienced military advisors to guard the mines. Nigeria deployed logistics teams skilled in desert terrains. Guinea opened its airspace for emergency supply flights. The fight wasn't only on the ground. It moved online. AES-backed media launched a master counter-offensive exposing Western disinformation, revealing the truth behind the resource war, filling social media with one unified message: our resources, our future, our pride. The impact spread quickly. In Bamako, crowds filled the street to show support for Traoré. Even in Chad, the Central African Republic, youth groups chanted AES or death. In the West, intelligence agencies scrambled to respond, but they missed one important point. This was not just about Burkina Faso. This was a pan-African firewall, and Traoré wasn't backing down. He was moving forward, supported by a brotherhood built not from treaties, but from war, betrayal, and a shared dream of real African freedom. While Western powers grew angry and panicked behind closed doors, 2 global giants made theater move quietly and strategically. China and Russia, they didn't arrive with threats or arrogance. They brought something much stronger: support, technology, and a message Captain Traoré will never forget. You are not alone. Just 12 hours after Trump's ultimatum hit the news, a discreet Chinese delegation landed in Ouagadougou presenting a game-changing proposal: a fully operational gold mining facility designed and built in 90 days. A gold valuation system that bypassed Western banks entirely, and most importantly, a digital trade platform using China's digital yuan, cutting out both the CFA and the US dollar. Burkina Faso would not only own its gold, it would control every step of the value chain. Russia followed immediately after. The next day, a Russian military jet landed on a secure airstrip. On board, advanced electronic warfare systems and dozens of unmarked crates containing special defense assets. In other words, Burkina Faso's gold mines were now protected by Russian-made anti-drone defenses. Washington was stunned. CNN called it a disturbing new alliance. The U.S. State Department accused Traoré of selling out to dictatorships. But in Africa, no one cared what the West thought. To the people, Traoré wasn't backing off. He was fighting back. To them, China and Russia weren't invaders, they facilitators, and the AES. That was future, a future free from colonial chains. By this point, Traoré has achieved what many thought impossible. He rejected us ultimatum. He exposed a global resource grab, and he brought China-Russia banned half of West Africa to his side. In the US, the media went into full panic mode. CNN flashed its red headline: Burkina Faso refuses to pay back debt. Fox News went into full panic mode: Traoré must be stopped. Talk shows filled up with guests. IMF-linked bank CEOs, retired generals, all repeating the word dangerous. They called him crazy, a dictator, Putin's puppet, the next Gaddafi. But the internet wasn't buying it. African content creators flooded YouTube and Instagram with videos praising his courage. Even African Americans joined in. This man told Trump over my dead body and lived to tell the story. That's leadership, pay attention. In Burkina Faso, young people fought back in their own way. They took CNN's fear-filled clips and remixed them into protest songs. They wore t-shirts that read, "If CNN hates you, You must be doing something right. Traoré was no longer just a president, he became a symbol, a viral figure, a movement. Even Time magazine took notice. Their next digital cover read, "The man the West can't bully inside Traoré's African uprising, but fame came with risk." The more headlines carried his name, the more threats began to pile up. Private intelligence firms launched cyber attacks. Social media bots pushed fake scandals and smear campaigns, and Washington closed door meetings. The old whispers returned. Accusations of debt dodging, but none of it mattered. The people saw exactly what was going on in Traoré. He had broken the script. He wasn't supposed to fight back. He wasn't supposed to survive, and he definitely wasn't supposed to go viral. Yet here he was, a 35-year-old soldier from Ouagadougou, more famous than most Western presidents. No PR team, no billionaire backers, just truth, courage, and gold. Time was running out. The whole world watched. Would Traoré agree to hand over 70% of Burkina Faso's gold to pay down the debt? Instead, when the due deadline expired, Traoré made his boldest move yet at dawn. Burkina Faso's National Assembly held an emergency session completely hidden from outside eyes. Behind closed doors, under Traoré's direct orders, they passed a historic resolution. All gold reserves within Burkina Faso are hereby nationalized and permanently protected from all forms of foreign corporate ownership. The ink had barely dried. The decree was in force, and by sunrise, every Western company still operating in Burkina Faso's soil received the same message: pack your bags, your game here is over. Licenses held by French and Canadian mining firms revoked. A G7 and IMF-backed energy survey team escorted to the border. Foreign diplomats informed in plain words Burkina Faso's resources are not a bargaining chip for debt repayment. Then Traoré appeared in national television, no uniforms, dressed only traditional Burkinabe attire. Traoré spoke with a steady, clear, and unwavering voice. "We have been exploited for generations. Now that we have discovered our wealth, they want to take it away again. But I am not here to serve empires. I am here to serve my people, a people who have suffered for far too long." He then paused for a long moment. Then came the line that echoed from radios to rooftops. "Burkina Faso is not afraid, and I will not negotiate with thieves." Outside, the streets erupted, drums pounded, fireworks lit the skies, crowds danced and chanted through the capital. He said no, he said no, he said no. Online, the movement caught fire again. Young people in the street whispered one phrase: "We protect what's ours." The IMF ultimatum expired. The threat has failed, and Traoré, he didn't just survive the pressure, he rewrote the rules. 2 days after this bold challenge, the G7 and IMF went silent. No press briefings, no tweets, just quiet panic behind closed doors. There was nervous whispers in military offices. Real alarm bell rang in oil board rooms. Then at exactly 7 a.m. Eastern Time, Donald Trump broke the silence with an all-caps tweet: "Traoré just made the biggest mistake of his life. Africa will pay for this." The internet exploded. Journalists scrambled for reactions. Cable news turned into shouting matches. Markets in New York dipped as investors braced for the worst. But in Ouagadougou, Captain Traoré didn't flinch when aides showed him the tweet. He reportedly smiled and said, "That's the sound of an empire losing control." Still, the threat was. Satellite activity over West Africa tripled. The U.S. Navy quietly moved 2 warships closer to the Gulf of Guinea. Burkina Faso's military acted fast. Anti-air defenses went live. Gold transport routes were sealed off. AES allies moved quickly. Mali sent armored units to the border. Nigeria activated air defense radar to monitor shared skies. Guinea announced joint rapid response pact, promising immediate retaliation against any foreign attack on Burkina Faso. Then came the shock that stunned the world. This was no longer just about governments. Ordinary people across Africa rose up. In Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and the Sahel, thousands gathered outside US embassies. These weren't ordinary protests, they were warning signs read: "Touch Traoré, and you touch all of us. Africa is not your minefield. We'll keep our dignity." In Washington, Trump was furious that his pressure campaign had failed. But the final blow didn't come from any government. It came from a video just 30 seconds long by Captain Ibrahim Traoré himself. It went global within hours. Looking straight into the camera, calm and steady, he said, "This is not just about debt. This is not just about gold, this is about the soul of Africa, and I would rather die standing than live kneeling. Within 12 hours, the video has been shared over 20 million times. Former African presidents began speaking out, breaking years of silence. One by one, they called Traoré the beginning of a new era, a new kind of leader. The world held its breath, but for Africa, it was the first deep breath of freedom in a very, very long time.